Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to the Old World Paranormal Podcast. Nick and I back again for, I guess we could call this a milestone episode. This is episode number 40. Episode number
Perfect
40.
guess for the milestone.
Yeah. And yeah, it's an age I passed many years ago because I'm an old fart now. But we are coming off of a incredibly awesome and crazy weekend all at the same time. We had some of the Ghost Hunters crew over at the Bell Mansion over the weekend, and we had an amazing time. And the feedback that we've gotten is it is blowing our minds with the support that we have. So if you're listening to this and you were there this weekend, thank you, because you guys make all this possible. Nick and Angie helm up the whole thing, and we are the trains connected to it, but there would be none of that if there were none of you, and we appreciate that greatly. So one person that wasn't there from Ghost Hunters is our guest today, coming back for round two. I don't know if Nick bribed him to come back or he really likes us, but he decided to come back again for round two. So we are going to dive right in today, and welcome back Dustin Pari to the Old World Paranormal Podcast.
Well, thank you so much for having me here on the epic Over the Hill episode.
Yeah.
It's like we have black balloons all around, ready to go.
That's right.
Indeed. I'm looking forward to get back down there with you guys. I felt bad I couldn't be a part of this last one, but there's only so many of us, and we're all scheduled all over the place all the time. But I'm looking forward to being there in December. We're gonna have a good time, man. Absolutely.
We certainly are.
So December 10th, coming right around the corner here, less than a month away. Gonna have the man, the myth, the legend, Dustin coming back. So this one's gonna be a little bit of a twist. So typically, you get your Q&A, you get your ghost hunt, you get your picture and your autograph, blah blah blah. Not this time. This one's gonna be a little bit of a twist. So let's talk about that, Dustin. Let's just get right into it. Let's promote this wonderful event. This Christmas event we're gonna have at the Bell Mansion.
Yeah. December 10th. I like to do things differently, which is why I feel like the Bell is a good fit, because from my experience there with you guys before, with the whole team, like it's a very unique place. I've been to a lot of mansions and different places like that, and I've been to a lot of like crypts and morgues and everything. But it's not often you get a place that's got like a mansion and a morgue, so that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's got some weirdness going on, but because it is the holiday season. And I am like a real life Jack Skellington. I love some Christmas and some Halloween stuff all together. This is a nice opportunity to combine it. So I'll be doing one of my new lectures for this year, which looks at the old Victorian ghost stories that were once a part of our Christmas tradition. But we've kind of lost it along the way, So we're going to look at some of that, and then we're going to learn about it, and we'll tell some stories, and there'll still be the meet and greet and stuff, and you can, get hugs and get autographs and all that thing. And then we've got the investigation afterwards, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be, I mean, I'm not a gloom and doom guy anyway, I think everyone knows that about me. So I want it to be really festive. We're going to have Christmas cookies and eggnog, and there will be music. And we'll have a real nice time with all of that stuff, kind of raise the vibration a little bit, and then go off and do our investigation. And I've got some cool little things planned. I'd like to try to arrange a visit from Santa Claus. I think that's the only thing that currently I don't have locked down. But, if you guys know anyone, if you might have a connection.
We do.
Maybe we can make that happen. I don't have my North Pole connection handy right now, but maybe we can figure that out. But yeah, it's going to be great, man. I'll tell you what, we're already down to one ticket left for the investigation.
Oh,
that's
crap.
all that's left. So investigation's almost sold out. One ticket left for that, but then we'll have there's still meet and greet and lecture tickets, so you can still take part in all that fun. But yeah, it's going to be different. I want to have a spirited good time and get ready for the festive season. And yeah, we'll have ghost stories and all that old stuff too. So yeah, really looking forward to it.
And I think we're going to have it all decorated for you too.
Yes.
Dog.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
We're working on that currently. We actually had a few up this weekend, but yeah, by the time you get here, it'll look like Christmas Wonderland. We
Nice.
promised you that, and we will deliver.
I bet you that place looks gorgeous decorated. Just that front room with the big staircase and all that wood and everything, like it's beautiful as is. So I can't imagine all festive up.
If we don't stop you in your tracks when you walk through those front doors, then we failed you.
All right. Well, I don't think you will fail me. I look forward to this moment, I'll tell you.
But I'm working on Dustin's Christmas list.
There
Does
we
it
go.
say eggnog?
Santa
Yeah,
Claus, cookies, and
eggnog.
eggnog.
Yeah, I'm
Do we
very
need do we need to add pumpkin pie to that list also?
Oh, I'm pretty sure that was in the contract. I think the
Oh, okay.
pumpkin
Oh,
pies.
oh,
Yeah,
shit.
that's already in the contract. That's good.
That's his rider.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh man, for
We'll,
sure.
we'll talk to Linda, make sure that happens.
Yeah, that's it. Get that pumpkin pie down there, dang it.
So we've been obviously we follow you on social media, man, and Jesus, you're a hardworking man.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Flight after flight. I don't know. Do you still have a family? Have they ditched you yet?
No, they like when the checks show up, so they keep me
Oh,
around.
yes.
Yeah, that's good, it's tough. It's a tough balance because everything I do is for my wife and my daughter. Like everything comes down to taking care of the family. But it's always that balance, and sometimes in order to make things work, like you gotta go away to do it. And I have the day job. I've been in cosmetic and facial oral surgery for 20 years now. So it's something I do all the time. But then I use my vacation time to go out and film with the Ghost Hunter show, and then I do the events on the weekend, and I do the motivational speaking on the weekends, and I don't I'm 45, but thankfully I don't require a lot of sleep yet. But I mean the body starts to break down, but then so like the last week I had like 2 nights where there's 2 hours of sleep, and I had 3 that was 5 hours of sleep. But then I get what I call my Odin sleep, which is like 13 to 15 hours straight, just
Yeah.
passed right the heck out. I mean, there's a little melatonin in there and sometimes a little rum to cap it off, but I sleep right through, and then I wake up feeling refreshed, and I can do it for like another month. So I just I joke around a lot about things, but like I'm really thankful to all the people that still come to these events that make them very special. I always feel like there's always a connection, and I meet new people, and that it continues to grow, and it's not something that I take lightly or that I take for granted. Like I've been around for a long time, and for like 5 years I wasn't even on any of the shows. For the most part, I was just kind of doing events, doing my lectures and everything, and still investigating locally, but not anything on the scale that I'm back to now. But I've always had really good fans and friends and supporters on the road that have allowed me to continue to do this part of what I like to do. And as much as I love the paranormal, I love the spiritual realm. For me, as you guys know, from just knowing me, and the social media people know,
Yeah.
it's about helping not just the spirits. I really believe it's helping the spirits of those of us that are still here. This
Right.
human condition is difficult, and I want to help people through this too. And so that's why I do most of what I do. And I think that making the appearances and doing these events allows me to connect with some people, and it's always very special to me when someone comes up afterwards and that connection's been made, and they're going through something, and I've been able to help them, or I've inspired them in some way, and then I feel like I've done what I was supposed to do. And sometimes it's that backhanded comment. Like I get that a lot, the backhanded compliment rather. It's like, I never thought much of you on the show, but you're actually really good. I'm like, oh, thanks. Like, but maybe that helps. Like you set the bar
Yeah.
low, set the bar low, like so no one has great expectations. And then you're like, hey, this guy's not so bad.
Oh, you really sucked on the show, but in person,
Yeah.
man, you're fabulous.
Yeah, right. I had a guy once, I'll never forget. And this says a lot about who we are as people. And I think it's a very human thing. Like I make the joke a lot. Like you can hand somebody the Mona Lisa and they'll bitch about the frame you handed it over in,
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
all,
spot
all
on.
the all the places I've traveled, all the things I've been to. I remember the woman in Minnesota that waited in the line to tell me that I'm not all that and she doesn't like me. I remember being in Connecticut and some guy buying a book and saying, I never thought you were, and I'm not going to say the words that he said because they're really foul. He's like, but you seem to be a decent guy. It's just like, okay, thanks.
Yeah, it's kind of like the trollers on the internet. They sit there
Yeah,
and watch just to get in their snide comment or
right.
remark. But it's like, in your case, but hey, you still bought the book, right?
That's
was
what I
gonna say,
think. I'm like, hey, it's still $20.
Yeah.
at the
It's
same
like
time, they bought the merch and they bought the ticket to see us. So
it's the
You know,
old
guy,
Colonel.
guys like you, Dustin, the reason why you could be off air for so long and continue your success because finally meeting you in person and this or that and getting to know you a little bit, you are who you are. You don't portray anything else. You know, you are a genuine soul. You care about others truly, and you can see that in people. People see bullshit. They
Yeah.
do,
Yeah.
you know, and they just soak it up, you know, to know that that's somebody that they look up to is just as down to earth as they are,
Yeah.
and you're making difference in their lives. You'll be able to do that, you know, to the day you die, brother.
I appreciate it, man. I try to give away like every ounce of energy when I'm at these events, like every hug, every handshake, like every connection means something. And I just, when I first started, I remember going to some of the conventions like Dragon Con and all those things. And I remember looking around to see what other people did at their tables because I'd never gone to any of those conventions, so I didn't know. And I definitely was never, somebody signing the autograph. So I was like, well, I don't know what to do. And so you just want to be yourself, of course. But I saw some people that I looked up to,
Mhm.
some A-listers who like could barely lift their head off the table. And like you slide your name to the security guard, he hands it over to the artist. They look up at you, scribble it on the picture, and then slide it back over to the security guard. I'm like, I never want to be that person, And
Right.
I mean, I don't think I'll ever be big enough to have that type of notoriety anyway. But I never want that to be the fan like interaction, And I get the guy honestly that inspired me the most, Doug Jones, who just reprised his role on Hocus Pocus 2 as Billy. I mean, he was a Silver Surfer. He was Abe Sapien. He's been in so many different movies. Um, but I remember I shared space with him. My table was next to his at one of my first Dragon Cons, and every single person for 3 days that walked to this man's table, he stood up, he went around the table, he held their face in his hands, he held their head to his chest, he gave them a big hug. Like it was so every person received the same intimate personal treatment. I was like, man, that's really beautiful. And I never forgot that, and I still carry that with me today. I it's something that I want people to know when they come see me that it means something to me too. It's not just, hey, thanks for the $20. Here's your picture. Move along, like because that's
Right.
cold, and that's not what it should be about.
Well, the thing of it is, you know, you might not remember that 30, 60 seconds, the 2 minutes, or whatever it is, that handshake, that hug. You might not personally remember them 5 years down the road,
Mhm.
but that person will always remember that brief moment of time. It's like, man, when I met Dustin at so and so Paracon or this con. He took time out. He came around the table. He gave me a hug, gave me a picture, and and blah blah blah. It's stuff like that. We talk about that all the time. Whoever walks in the door, I don't care who it is. You treat them like you want to be treated,
Yeah.
and it could be guy living off the street, or it could be the president of the United States. It don't matter. You get the same hug, the same smile, the same handshake.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that makes a difference in this world.
It's
And it's
funny,
the
man.
same thing too. Like, Dustin and I, we talked, I've been in the pro wrestling business for 13 years and we run conventions, a couple times a year. And it's no different than going from, TV and movie stars to pro wrestlers, because I've met guys that I watched on TV that, really had an impact on me. And then some of these guys, you meet them in person and they are the exact opposite of what you thought they would be.
Yeah.
But then you've got guys who are the exactly, they say never meet your heroes. I'm not quite sure that that's really words to live by, but I
Yeah.
have met some really amazing people. Fortunately, I'm in a position where I don't have to, at our things, wait at tables and,
Yeah.
wait to get in line. But I've had personal interaction with a lot of people,
Mhm.
and they appreciate the fans, and because there would be no Sting without the fans, there
Yeah.
would be no uh you
Yeah.
know anybody without the
Right.
fans. And once you realize that is the biggest underlying factor in your existence as a star, and some people just don't get that. Some people are just like, hey, give me your money, move on to
Yeah.
the next.
Sadly, they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't want to turn this into a wrestling angle because I'll talk wrestling for days, as you
I
know,
know you
Sean.
will.
But
oh, well,
I was
I'll see you guys later. No,
We'll wrap it up.
but I recently went to a show up here in New England and up in Massachusetts, and Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler were there, and Bret Hart was there, and
PR.
it was great. And Dax and Cash actually, the show was supposed to start at whatever time, and it started like almost a half hour late because they had such a line, but they didn't just move the line along. Like they made sure everybody got that time, you know.
Hmm.
And it was really cool to see, you know, and that's kind of what I expected out of those guys based on their social media stuff. But I
Yeah.
just love to see that because like it's not that hard. This life is not that hard to go through and just be a decent human being, regardless of if you've ever been on a show or if you've ever been an entertainer or you're a sports athlete, whatever the hell you are. If, as we were just mentioning, like if you just treat everybody that walks through the door like you want to be treated, if you just give everybody a little bit of space, you know, like just be kind. I know it gets tiring sometimes because not everybody will treat us back that way. But if we
Yeah.
lower ourselves to the way other people treat us, then we're constantly lowering the bar back and forth. And that's the opposite of what we need to do. I always tell people, don't start to suck because somebody else does. Like you got to continue to maintain taking that high road and doing things, even when it's difficult, and nobody seems to care.
It is difficult. And, you know, there's some days I'm like, you know, we call it, we don't want to people today.
Yep.
Like you don't want to people today. You just want to be quiet. You just want to just do your job. And that one person that happens to walk in the door that day might need the biggest, you know, pick me up or hug or this or that, and you just didn't want to do it that day. And I don't know, and I still struggle with it. Angie gets on my ass. She's like, put a smile on, you know. For instance, okay, I don't know what day it was. It was late. We were going to Walmart to pick up some stuff for the Bell Mansion, like, you know, water and snacks, a bunch of other stuff. And I don't know, I don't remember what we picked up, but it was 3 big things. They weren't in a bag. And we were walking out of Walmart. And the guy comes, he like stops us. He's like, I got to see your receipt and check your stuff. And I'm just giving him the shittiest look in the world. Like, are you serious right now? You know, like, how dare you ask me for my damn receipt? You know, like I look like I'm gonna steal something, and you know, so I turn around and point at Angie because she has the receipt, and she's all being nice to him. She's like, "Why were you being an asshole?" I'm like, "I don't know. I felt like I was being singled out."
Right.
You know, and I was like, and you know, and I made a joke about it. And I'm like, you know, it was an older white guy, and I said I made the comment that, you know, he stopped me for a reason, and I
You
said,
have a sketchy face.
I made a different comment, but no, I mean, realistically, I should have never acted like that.
Yeah.
There was no reason for it. But, you know, it's something that it's not just when you're at work. It's not just when you're at your building or you're at conventions. It's not just when you're doing this, but you know, I mean, me personally, I'm working on it. I got to remind myself no matter where I go,
Right.
put a smile on.
Yeah.
Quit it. You don't know what struggles any other person you walk by is going through.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
It's difficult, and we're all works in progress. You know, I have my days and stuff. People sometimes ask like, "Oh, you stay positive all the time." I'm like, well, I don't put my negativity on social media, but a lot of my tweets, so the secret to what I write is a lot of that great advice people think I'm giving. It's me talking to myself. A lot of
Yeah.
times I write it and it comes out in a negative way, and then I look at it. I'm like, okay, what would I say to somebody that's going through this and feeling like I feel right now? And then I try to figure out what that answer would be, and that becomes what my actual post is, you know. So I just, it's not that I don't have those days or those moments, because I mean I get really like, it's very difficult sometimes on the road. You get tired, you get lonesome. You know, like I'm standing on a plane yesterday, and the lady like next to me has no like understanding of space. It's like there's 18 inches between the seats. I'm gonna stand up like Mary Tyler Moore and swirl around my jacket and hit you twice with the sleeves. And I'm gonna put a backpack on, and I'm gonna twist back and forth and hit you with that 3 times. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, but like it's just like, all right, she's just not cognizant of things. But like, you know, there's only so much you can take after, you know, 4 states, 10 days on the road, and like God knows how many flights. But I try to remember, I'm like, all right, just I try to, music helps me a lot, honestly. Like I'll put different music on my AirPods. I'm like, let me get myself in a more positive space, or play something stupid that'll make me laugh. And but yeah, but I mean, we're all works in progress. We all screw up, we all struggle, but that's the human experience, and it's learning from those mistakes. And I mean, I still get stuff I screw up all the time, and I'm like, okay, I gotta get better at this, I get better at that. But we also can't be too hard on ourselves. We can't be too easy on ourselves and be like, well, I tried. It's like, well, did you really? Or,
Did you really?
did you really try? Or are you just saying that so you don't feel bad that you just don't bother? But we know, if you really are making an effort or if you're not. And at the end of the day, you're the only one that you have to look to. And so I always just try to do my best. And I know I fall short of that mark sometimes, but I continually try to get better each day. Some days it's a step forward, some days it's a step back, some days we're in the same place. Once in a while we get a real big win. So we look forward to those days.
So do you often travel just by yourself for all these stops? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean that would be kind of constant. I'm not saying lonely, but I guess lonely is the word. I don't know.
I grew up an only child, and even like before the shows and all that stuff, I used to do a lot of stuff on my own. Like I always had like a really good. I get the same core group, like these same 6 guys from high school, and my best friend that I've known since first grade, like the same dudes, all these years. The only new addition, honestly, like that I hang with locally is Cody. Cody Desmian, who's just down
Yeah.
with you guys too. Like Cody and I met years ago when he was sick, and we just became fast friends. But for the most part, like it's the same dudes I've been hanging with since I was a kid. But like I would go to the movies by myself. I like to go sit by the ocean by myself. I like a lot of quiet time, so I don't really mind it. But what I find difficult is the roller coaster of emotion of being on stage, being at an event, being that rock star for that moment,
Right.
and then like going back to your hotel room and sitting there alone and be like, well, I guess I'll order a pizza and watch Ancient Aliens again, but
Yeah.
and again, not to tie back to wrestling, Sean, but like reading Bret Hart's book, Wrestling with Shadows, like we see that with so many rock stars, with so many wrestlers, with so many different athletes. You go on that high where like that endorphin high is there and people are feeding you love and they clap. And I always say I go from hero to zero, like everyone loves me. It's great. I go back to my room and I get like my day job texting me, like complaining about this or that. And like, oh, like right back to this, and it's tough. And then you go to the airport by yourself, and then you sit at the bar by yourself, and then you go to the next plane by yourself, and then you go to another hotel, and it's an Uber ride, and then you wait till you're on stage, and they're like, hey, everyone loves me again, this is great. And then it's like, I'm just back by myself, and like it's such a small part. And but I'm not like complaining about it. Like I'm just saying this is the reality of it. And I could see why, I have a whole lecture called Filling the Void, because I can see that for all of us, regardless of what status you have, what your job is, if anybody is seen you on a program or whatever the hell the thing may be. Like I never escalate that really over anything, but I'm just saying from my experiences, we all have that struggle. We all, and I really feel my mission statement has really become, that we're spirits going through this human experience. We're not from here. We don't stay here. But I think I tweeted something about this yesterday. I think that loneliness, that emptiness that we often feel inside is because of that disconnect. Like we're spiritual beings, but yet every day we have to get up for some stupid alarm and like sit in traffic to go do some job that may not be the passion of our life, but maybe it's okay to pay the bills. Like you
Right.
shouldn't do something you hate, but like it'd be nice if it was something you love, but sometimes it's not, and it's just gray area, and that's okay. You pursue that passion on the side, but that emptiness, that void that we feel is that disconnect, because we're constantly like chasing crap and money to buy more crap, and then paying bills. And like I went and got mozzarella sticks the other day, and I kid you not, they were $13.99. This is 6 pieces of fried damn cheese. And it was
Holy crap! Was
$13.99.
that at the airport?
No, this was just at a restaurant in Providence. And I'm like,
Oh Jesus!
oh, I got that, a half order of gnocchi pasta and a beer, and it was like $35. I'm like, what the hell did I order? And it's just like, oh, there's mozzarella sticks and now $13. Like everything's ridiculous. And like, so we're living in this superficial world. So our spiritual selves get lost quickly. And if you're on the road a lot, you're lonely a lot in your own life, whatever reason may be, that void we can fill with alcohol, we could fill it with drugs, we could fill it with whatever we abuse. And like it helps to kind of assuage and numb the pain for a little bit, but then it's not enough, and then we need more, and then we need more, then we need more. And then like the story arc for so many people becomes the same. Like I was doing okay, and then I started to feel this way, so I started to cover up with this, and then I started to fall apart. And it's so important that we have whatever it is for you that's a healthy way to fill that void. And for me, exercising our spirit, exercising physically, like these are things that I have to do to keep myself afloat, and it's funny, like I love going to the gym. It helps me out mentally and emotionally so much. Um, and it makes me look pretty decent in a t-shirt. But for the most part, I really feel like our spirituality is the thing that we don't exercise. And regardless of God, goddess, whatever belief system you may have, structured or unstructured, you have to feel something. You have to know, especially as paranormal investigators, like we have to realize there's more, right? Like it. So,
Mhm.
what are we doing for our spiritual selves? And I feel like most of us, it's just going to the wayside. Religion is fallen out of fashion years ago, and it's unfortunate because there's a lot of beauty there. And regardless of the different religions and people always go back to all the bloodshed. Well, okay, yeah, it sucks. It totally sucks. It's horrible the things that are still done in the name of religion. But
Mhm.
we could also look at the bright side of it and try to focus on that. Life is where you focus. So if you like to go to church, you like to go to a service, a worship session, you like to go to a spiritualist thing, do something to exercise your spirituality because I mean, you guys know, right? Like I'm sure you guys know. We go on an investigation. We have an incredible like back and forth exchange. We get like the most incredible encounter in EVP. And then you go back to the day job and it's like, what the frick am I doing here? This feels
Yes.
right. It's like, oh, I feel
100%.
Well,
yeah.
what to say was, like yourself, Dustin, and many like you that book these events that people pay tickets for, they expect the world from you guys, and I often talk to these people. I'm like, look, number one, they're just people too. Okay. Number two, people automatically assume because you were on TV, you've got it good.
Yeah.
No, 98% of you guys still carry a day job.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're hustling. You are hustling, getting out there, making more money for you and your family. You're spreading your message or whatnot. And I'm like, well, I spent $150 for this evening. I expect this and this and this and this. And I'm like, you paid $150 for the experience. Sit down, relax. It's just and then about the physical, going to the gym and this or that. We got the whole inside scoop about the shirt and the pose from your good buddy Brian. we spent we spent all afternoon in the living room practicing the Dustin Pari pose on
Oh,
how
really?
you got to hold your hand a certain way so
Yeah.
that then the biceps come through the shirt and you just
Yeah. It pops a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah, and Jason said in order to fit everybody in the frame, you have to account for the hair height.
Well, of course. Yeah. You don't want to cut that off,
No, no.
It's so funny, man. Like the things that I noticed too. Brian and I just did a Pathways event down in St. Augustine, like not even 48 hours ago. But I love Brian. It's so funny because unfortunately my first encounters with so many people echo the same sentiment, and it makes me think about who I am as a person. But Brian Cano, my great buddy Jeff Belanger up here, um, many others have told me that the first time they met me, they thought I was not such a nice person. I'll just put it that way because I didn't say a lot to them or anything. And it's not that I ice anybody. I honestly, I really, I'm not the best, but I feel like I'm good on stage. Um, I can emote, I can tell jokes. Although my wife and daughter think I'm not funny, people in the audience seem to have a great time. Um, but when I'm at a party, when I'm like, backstage at the green room, like I feel really awkward. Like I'm very much an extrovert on stage, but an introvert off stage. So when I don't know somebody, like the first time I saw Brian was at an event in Philadelphia or near Philadelphia, adjacent Bolton Mansion. I heard of who he was. I kind of knew who he was, but I didn't know him. And I always assume people don't know who the hell I am. So I didn't want to go over and be like, hey, and so I didn't say anything really. I was like talking to some other vendors and things, and Belanger tells me the same things. Like, you put your headphones on, you talk to me the whole ride. I'm like, because I always feel awkward and I feel like nobody wants to talk to me, so I just shut down. But Brian has become such a great friend, and we've had such a great time doing this Pathways thing. And we're in St. Augustine, and we're taking photos, and I noticed. I think he was kind of doing it tongue in cheek with to joke with Linda, our manager. But I noticed in a lot of the early photos, the first pose he would do would be my pose. I'm like, damn it, that's what I do. But yeah, it's funny, man. I grew up in high school and everything. Like I was always like 115 pounds, like no muscle, just like skin, bone, and hair. And so during COVID, honestly, my brain went wonky, and I needed to work out more and more and more because I always like try to stay in shape. But now my routine's like 2 hours a day, and I'm no bodybuilder, but like I feel healthy. I feel like I'm at my healthiest ever, so
Yeah.
that's good. But so yeah, we do that. But yeah, of course, Brian would like to poke fun at such things.
We when the first time he walked in our gift shop and he saw your picture up there on the wall, he's like, oh no, 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 no. He's like, I gotta put a bigger picture up there. So he took the one picture, his one where he's leaning up against a pillar, and the
Yeah,
actual picture has a shadow of your knee
yeah, you can see it there. Yeah.
down on the corner. Well, he purposely cropped that off, extended the picture bigger, and he's like, you have to put it next to Dustin, so and I'm like,
Right.
no, he was a wonderful
He's
person to
great.
hang out with the whole
Yeah.
history of the paranormal exhibit, and we got a
Yeah.
chance to go to lunch, and we went to a couple bookstores with him. He's just an amazing person, full of
Great.
knowledge.
Great dude.
Um,
So smart. I've learned so much from working with him. Like, really have. Like, we just have natural chemistry, working together on stage together. The Pathways venture has been a lot of fun and very creative. And but yeah, very intelligent dude. Really super nice. So I'm really glad that we've worked together. We've always wanted to do something together. It wasn't until like 2 years ago that we actually started working together. But it's been a
right.
great time.
Have you heard of his famous directing of the Last Supper?
No, no, I
You have
haven't.
not.
The Last Supper. No.
The Last Supper. It's a very famous picture taking in a Mexican restaurant in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Oh dear Lord.
I'll have to send you some of the video and
Yeah.
pictures.
Okay.
We'll
That sounds
we'll show
good.
you the picture when you come into town. But
All
no,
right.
so we all went out to lunch at Don Chavez. It's a local
Yeah.
Mexican restaurant. Right. Not even 5 minutes from the bell.
Was this the
So,
one with the hand painted walls?
yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
he mentioned some things about this restaurant. Yes.
So of course, you haven't met Luke yet because Luke was not on our staff the first time you came to the bell. But Luke, looks like a prototypical Jesus.
Okay.
So I nicknamed him Jesus, and it's just went from there. But somebody at the table came up with the idea because we had just the right amount of people. He's like, we need to recreate the Last Supper. So Brian is legit directing everybody. No, your hand has to be slightly this
Oh
way.
yeah.
This
Yep.
finger has to come in, and this and that. And then a good friend of ours from Pittsburgh shows up this weekend, and she took that picture and blew it up on this huge canvas. So
That's fantastic. Yep. That's funny, man. Brian's got a great eye for detail, and one thing that I really learned with Brian is I push myself to be harder on getting things right. And because a lot of times I'm always, because it's funny, I think we balance each other out because he's very much a perfectionist, and I used to be, and then I kind of like chilled out over the years because I realized I started to become neurotic. So I think we kind of balance each other out. I kind of let him know that's okay if things aren't exactly the way we want them, and he challenges me to kind of up my game to make things a little bit more like we want them. So it's like, remember the McDLT? It's like the McDLT. It's like
Oh
you
my
got the hot
gosh.
side on one
Hot
side,
side, the cold
the
side.
cold side. You get a lukewarm burger experience when you put it together. That was pretty much what McDonald's was selling, and, and that's what we do. We mesh our two ways of doing things.
I came back.
Taking me back there because I'm literally in my mind's eye. I am picturing that styrofoam container it came in.
Yeah,
Oh
those
my
two
gosh.
sides. Yep, it was like a spaceship. That thing was so big. That styrofoam.
It was.
Was like a spaceship. It was like here's the red side and the blue side. And you get, so I recently I watched the commercial for it on YouTube, and it's Jason Alexander dancing down the street in a white suit, singing
Oh,
about
wow.
the McDLT. I was like, George Costanza sold me the McDLT as a kid. I had no
Holy
idea.
shit.
Amazing, amazing.
Oh,
Yeah, it's funny what kind of the celebrities you'll find before they like actually hit it big and like stupid
Yeah.
commercials and stuff like that. You're like, holy crap.
I was telling one of the girls today about Pee Wee's Playhouse, and when Lawrence Fishburne was just Larry Fishburne and he was a cowboy.
Yeah.
Like, you have to go watch it. It's insane.
Yep. No, we were I was heading back to the table Friday night to grab something, and
sorry.
what was that?
I said Cowboy Carl. I squirreled there. Sorry.
We had one of your pamphlets for your event on the table, and I don't know, for some reason I looked down and I was like, what the fuck happened to Dustin's face? And yeah, Jason got a hold of a marker and he kind of did you up a little bit on the.
That sounds about right. That sounds
Mhm.
about right.
And
Yeah.
I see why the Ghost Hunters crew works so well together, because you guys are all genuine. You're all the same on the shows as you are in real life, and you all have that same, I don't know, you're all on the same wavelength, it seems.
Mhm.
And I think that makes you guys work really well together as a team.
Yeah. Well, thanks, man. Yeah, there's a lot of camaraderie, and we all. I mean, I wasn't with them their first season. I joined the home team between the first and second season. So I've been with them for a very, very long time, on and off camera. And I feel like we all kind of came up together, and we all kind of have similar, backgrounds and desires, and we just like to have a good time and everything. So everyone's pretty chill, and we just look out for each other. And it's important, the friendship, the loyalty. A lot of people have come and go over the years with the show, unfortunately, but I don't know. I was always thankful for the opportunities that they've given me. I mean, Jay even brought me out to Ghost Nation, when he had that show going. So he's always looked out for me and given me good opportunities to be a part of it. So I've been really enjoying. We just wrapped the new season a couple of days ago, so thankful to be a part of that. And we had a lot of cool cases. So I'm looking
Yeah, I
forward to
was
seeing
gonna.
how they slice it together.
Also, I mean, let's talk about that. I know you can't dive into details on the cases and locations because obviously coming up on the season to air
Yeah.
those. But let's talk about just like the little bit of, not, I don't know, the investigating part.
Mm.
Going back from 2004 and I was it 2006 when you started.
Yeah, about then, because about 2005, 2006 is when I was with the
Somewhere out
team.
there.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the difference now today versus back then on the whole crew
Mhm.
and the staff, being, I mean, you were all seasoned vets of paranormal investigating, and but the TV show was still relatively new. It was
Yeah.
taking off, it was branching out to other TV shows and this or that, to coming full circle almost 20 years later. Now that Ghost Hunters has come back, Taps returns, Jason's bringing all you guys back from like the original TV show and doing investigation. Let's talk about the difference of what you guys are doing and how you're doing it now today versus back then.
My favorite part is unless it's a very specific instance, no more DVR cables. Having a
Oh,
wireless
yes.
DVR system. I am not a technology guy, but that was one thing I was like, oh, this is fantastic. I used to hate running those cables because there's always a problem somewhere. So having the wireless system is one of my favorite things. But I feel like from a show perspective, we definitely found our flow in knowing, um, like our production crew is fantastic,
Mhm.
and they know what we're doing. We know what they need. Even like I always like to use the POV camera when I investigate, because I like having the opportunity to track something visual and also capture something audible. But then I was a camera operator for CBS and Fox News locally for about 7 years or so.
Right.
So I end up almost like an extra lens for the production company. So while I'm investigating with Dave or whoever, I'm always having them framed up so that it's something usable, so that the show has now two cameramen or operators within that room. Because they want to streamline it. They don't want multi-camera people there, multiple audio people there. But if I'm there, like I know, okay, this is how much lead room I need, this is how much headroom I need, so I can set it up to try to make it look a little prettier. So I like being able to use some of my other abilities, and talents in that way. But yeah, we've definitely kind of, it's really cool to see the way it's developed, and we've gotten, I mean, it's nice being a part of the show because we've always had full control of it. Jay always has final say of things, and so we never have to worry about them manipulating something. And Pilgrim's been great. Like they never asked us to recreate or do anything outside of, hey, can you walk through this door again, or can you put this down again? You know, stuff like that. When it
Right.
comes to the investigation, to the evidence, that's all on us. And so that's been a blessing by far, because you hear some horror stories from some of my other friends and other programs, and it's like they want us to do this, they want us to do that, and it's tough. You know, I can understand how difficult that can be. So it's nice to have always had someone within the group that has enough, control of it, where we can know that things are going to be portrayed honestly, and we don't have to worry about being made to look one way or another.
Yeah, we've heard a lot of, I mean, we've never had been in that scenario personally, but talking to a lot of people, the horror stories of these production companies and
Yeah,
directors, and just what the extent of what they make them do and redo, and then it comes down to the episode, and it's like, well, why isn't this in there? Why
yeah,
isn't that in there? That doesn't make any sense. And Jason did he said it multiple times this weekend. He was like, that is the biggest difference with Ghost Hunters and Ghost
yeah,
Nation and Ghost Hunters Taps Returns is, Jay does have full control of what
right,
goes on the show. So
yeah.
you ever been on any other shows, or is this the only one?
So I would say I've done Destination Truth. I did one of those, like a crossover show. I did Ghost Nation. I feel like there's something else that I'm missing. My brain sometimes gets wonky. I've interviewed for other things, like when I wasn't under contract or doing anything. And I won't mention what the shows are, but some of them I turned down before I even did like the video interview, because I'm like, it's just not my concept. I'm not a demon guy. I'm not a doom or gloom
Right.
guy. Like one, it was like a Brady Bunch interview. There's like 12 of us on with the producer. I'm like, I can't even understand what anybody's saying. Like, this is stupid. Like everybody's like yelling different ideas, and every idea is the best idea. Like, you have no concept for the show, and you're relying on the rest of us to do it. And none of us are going to be producers. So you're just taking all the ideas, and everything you like is about demons. Like, oh, well, what do you want to do? I'm like, I'm not telling you anything I want to do, because all you're going to do is just take it and do something else. And you're just not my person.
Right.
Another one I did, I got to the like video, like the Zoom portion interview, and like I was sitting outside, I thought it was nicely lit. I had this nice little teal shirt on, like helped my eyes pop, try to look good. And they told me, they're like, "Hey, could you before we do the interview, could you just go change to a black t-shirt?" And I said, "Why does this not look good?" They said, "Well, paranormal investigators wear black t-shirts." I was like, "I'm done." She's like,
Yeah.
"What?" I was like, "If you're gonna judge me based on the shirt that I'm wearing for the interview and what you think paranormal investigators look like," so I've been doing this since I was 15. I was one of the lead guys on an international show. I've been on Ghost Hunters for years. And you're gonna tell me I need to wear a black t-shirt? This is not my concept. Like, I don't want to be a
Right.
part of it. So yeah, there's a lot of that.
I mean, obviously, you guys are long seasoned vets. So, has the investigating style or the thought process behind it changed at all in this last 20 years?
Oh, I think all of us evolve. For me, my techniques changed quite a bit. Um, I've always kind of been like plucky kind of guy. Like, I've never really been, I'm not a doom and gloom guy. Like, I mean, I believe there is a light and dark side to everything, like this life and the afterlife, but I never feel like everything is dark. And I don't like that concept, because I feel like you get what you bait your hook for. And so when people go into something thinking, oh, this is a sad place and everyone's sad and trapped and there's demons and we get scratched, and I'm like, that's just not for me. Like, I don't want to think that when we pass away that that's all there is. I'd look on the lighter side of things. So um I use music a lot in my investigating. On camera, it's tough because I always have to ask production to clear something for me that's copyright free, so that I can use it. And it doesn't make for great TV. Sitting there watching somebody listen to music for 10 minutes, but I believe that music is one of those things that really bridges the gap. If we're dealing with intelligent spirit. I remember the first time I heard Bobby McFerrin's "Don't Worry, Be Happy." I remember sitting in my car seat and listening to Copacabana. Like, I remember stuff. Like, music brings me back. And
Mhm.
so I feel like when you go into investigation, you play music from that time period. If you're hoping to contact a spirit that may be at that location, then you're kind of increasing your chances of
Right.
of getting them to be like, oh yeah, like I remember that. Like, maybe they'll come over. KJ and I, when KJ was on the show, we would sit around and just like tell dad jokes and like just goof off for like 15 minutes, just sitting there and like just trying to create a warm environment that somebody would be like, hey, I want to be a part of this conversation. I don't like the interrogation. I can walk around like, who's here with us? How many years have you been here? Like, nobody wants that. Like, if somebody walked in my living room right now and started asking me questions, I didn't know who they were, I'd be like, who the hell are you? Like, I'm not taking part in this. So for me, it's become more of a thoughtful, more of a cerebral process. And it's honestly like the technology is great, whatever it is, for television purposes and for client purposes. You need to record things and show them things. But for me, it's such more of a spiritual experience. Sitting in that room by yourself and hearing footsteps walk up to you, seeing the glimmer of an apparition, which is very rare. But if you're staring down at all the lights, you might miss that moment.
Exactly.
It's important. And like you mentioned, like the expectations that sometimes people come in with. Yeah, if you've ever been in a paranormal investigation, you know that chances are nothing's going to happen, but you're going to meet new people and you can learn the history of the place that you're in. You can make new friends. Like, there's so much more to it. And we learn
So
things
much
from each other.
positivity to the field.
Yeah. Oh,
And
it's good stuff, man.
I mean, obviously yin and yang, there's going to be bad things in everything you do, but there's so much positivity in the paranormal world,
Yeah.
in the field. And obviously you try to stay away from the people that try to bring you down,
Yep.
but
Yeah, it's always those.
overall, do you think I don't know, do you think the state of network TV or cable TV paranormal shows are starting to phase out a little bit with more YouTube and streaming networks and this or that?
Everything's kind of changed, man. It's tough, Like, I don't even know how to watch TV anymore. Like, I don't know where anything is that I want. It's hard to keep track of things I want to see. Like, I'll see a promo, I'm like, I gotta take a screenshot, I gotta write it down. That's Apple TV, that's Peacock, that's this
Oh
platform.
yeah, it's a pain in the ass.
It hurts my brain, But yeah, I mean, definitely like the YouTube, TikTok, all that stuff is growing, which I don't know if it steals a lot from television, but it's definitely a new venue for what we do. And I think it's good that other people are getting opportunities. I always say there's enough dead people for everybody. Like, everyone, this is your passion, this is what you want to do. As long as you're doing it respectfully, go do it. And if you don't have a network behind you, that's fine. Like, go do like Shane, starring Shane Pittman.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
like he's done stuff on TV. Now he's got the 28 Days Later thing. He did Holster Files, but he's doing the Searchers thing. Like, and it's not network pushed, but he's doing it himself with his friends because they're passionate about it. Like, I love that kind of stuff. Like, whatever it is you're doing, if you're doing it in a positive way and you have got YouTube or you've got TikTok, whatever it is, yeah, like, absolutely. And I don't think it takes anything away from anything else. I mean, even some of the other shows that I mean, honestly, I don't watch a ton of paranormal TV because you live it all the time. It's like, I just want to watch cartoons and wrestling and go to sleep. But there's shows that like I watch, I'm like, I don't really care for the demeanor of this or the way this is portrayed or but somebody else might like that. So that's fine. That's why there's different options. That's why there's different flavors of ice cream. Like, you don't have to hate something just because you don't like it. Just move along. I never understood why we always have to spend time yelling about things we don't like. Just enjoy the things you do like. Let other people enjoy stuff they like. If I want to listen to Christmas music, don't tell me it's too damn early. Just let me listen to it. It's not like there's a ton of Thanksgiving songs out there. I listen to Adam Sandler.
I was walking around today singing Christmas fucking music, and I'm like, what am I doing?
Right? I mean, you can almost get away with it now because at least we're in November and stuff, and like they're trying to sell all crap to you. But like, I listen to it a lot throughout the year just because it makes me happy. And like, people are like, oh, it's too soon for that. I'm like, it's too soon for me to want to be happy. Leave me alone. I'm not making you listen to it. I'm not gluing the headphones to your head. I don't know.
Yeah, I get people all the time like, oh, we have this documentary coming out, or we have this show, and I'm like, oh, cool, yeah, I'll try to check it out. What's it on? It's on this and this and this streaming network. What is that? Never heard of it.
It's hard to know all the new stuff, man. It's hard to keep up. I mean, we're getting old too, so. I still remember changing the dial on the TV and moving the rabbit ear antennas. Like, come on.
Channel 3 to play Nintendo.
Yeah,
before TV had a remote.
Put it on channel 3, and then you had to use the switch in the back to turn it.
Yeah, the RF switch. Yeah.
Yeah. Those were the days, man. Absolutely. Do you remember? Okay, so this dawned on me today. Maybe you guys remember the Atari 2600 haunted house game.
Oh yeah.
It was just the eyes in the dark, like trying to dodge bats. Like,
we played the heck out of those games too.
Absolutely. Yep. Just trying to get. I don't know what the goal was. I don't think you could ever go anywhere. Just more and more.
I don't remember. Yeah.
But I remember playing it.
legit watching a thing on Netflix, a documentary about the evolution of games and how who invented the first one and this or that. I came
Yeah.
to the Atari and this and that's like I remember having an Atari and what was the what was the name of the one where it was, oh man, you had to find the key and then you went around to different doors. It's like a castle. Then you had to unlock this and this or that. It was on the Atari. I just remember. I don't know. We were poor, so I was lucky to have one game. I'll have to try to remember. I'm gonna have to look at it. It drive me crazy. But
I've kind of maxed out at games. Like it's funny. Like I was in the van the other night, and Tango and the production guys were talking about like this game, that game, and I'm like, and at dinner, everyone's talking about all this stuff, and I'm like, I stopped playing it like Guitar Hero. Then I was like, like I enjoyed that, like the first Call of Duty, and then I was done. Like I don't do online gaming. Like honestly, on my phone, I played Pokemon and I played Mario Kart, and I think Luigi's Mansion. That was the last thing I ever played on like an actual video game system. I don't have any dang time. Like the phone ones are easy because I can do it when I'm sitting in the airports, you know.
in the airport when you're constantly your flights are delayed.
Oh yeah, I had 9 delays recently. 9 in one day. I'm like, it was amazing. So I just walk around and play Pokemon. I'm like, at least it's something to do. And it's sad because now when I land in an airport, if I can't remember if I've been there, I turn on Pokemon. I'm like, oh yeah, I've already visited that stop, so I know I've been here at least once before.
That's funny. So are you gonna take some time off? You know?
I have 1 day off in September, 2 in October, and then I'm right from Halloween to Thanksgiving is nonstop between day job, lectures, and events. I go to Amy Bruni's event, Strange Escapes, this weekend up in New Hampshire. So yeah, no, there's and then all the Christmas lectures start. So I guess the Thanksgiving weekend, which I believe there's a wrestling pay-per-view that weekend. I think that's Survivor Series weekend. So I'll probably enjoy that. I'm the guy that makes the turkey. Like my wife makes a great mac and cheese. So she makes that, but I like to I brine the bird. I get up early. I do all the fixins. I watch the parade. I drink eggnog, put a little rum in the eggnog, and I have a wonderful time. So I love Thanksgiving. One of the best moments of my life was going to that parade once with my wife and daughter, and just sitting in the hotel room. I got like the window things, so because I don't like to be around that many people, so we could sit up there and just watch the parade from there, and it was fantastic. So Thanksgiving weekend, I'll be home and enjoying that. But then it's a lot of lectures, a lot of Christmas lectures, which I like because they're festive, they're motivational. This year we've got some spooky ones, but it's going to be a lot of fun. But then yeah, January we start with motivational stuff. Like I think January 2nd or something. So we just new year, new you. Let's try to get together, kids. So we'll be doing that, and I don't know. We get a big trip headed out to France, I think in March of next year. So that should be cool. And yeah, so no time off. Just keep working. I'm not good at a hell of a lot of things, but I can work tirelessly. And I don't know how much time I have here, but whatever God wants me to do, I'm going to try to get it all done. So I just keep going.
The whole time I'm looking behind you and I keep thinking that's a Doritos bag.
Well, I don't eat Doritos. I don't even know
I
what
keep thinking, who shops at Hollister anymore? That's
that's
You
gonna
know
be
what that
my
is?
daughter. That's gonna be my daughter.
oh,
Yeah, teenager.
okay. Well, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
that's I think these are Christmas gifts or friends or something. So I've never had a Dorito in my life. I don't trust fake orange products. So
But you
Doritos.
eat those little orange slice things, right?
Oh, yeah, no, circus peanuts.
Circus peanuts.
Yeah, circus peanuts are the best. But like fake orange cheese things, I don't trust. So Doritos, Cheetos, nacho, I won't touch any of that stuff. I've only had one hamburger in my life, and that was at Jay Hawes's house because I didn't want to insult him and not eat what he was cooking. But it's the only time I've ever had a hamburger. I'm a really strange cat when it comes to food. But look at this fantastic cider I'm drinking, though. I mean, nobody else can see it, but you look. It's like it's a little Christmas album. It's got snowflakes on it, and like it's like I want to live in that happy Christmas world. Storm
That was
along,
made just
happy
for you, I think.
holidays. It's nice. I remember laying on the floor at my nana's house when I was a kid and just staring at the album cover for Rudolph and wanting to be a part of that world, And now it's like I feel like I'm permanently on the Isle of Misfit Toys, but I like our fellow misfits. We're all screwed up.
Why haven't you tried to get in one of these Christmas movies or something?
I know, right? I should be in a Christmas movie. That'd be fun,
I mean, Hallmark makes 500 of them a year.
right? We could do
Sure,
like
we
a
can sneak
haunted,
into one.
right? A haunted Hallmark Christmas fest. I could do that. I love
Brother,
those movies.
it's always a pleasure to talk to you, and you're a busy man, but we really look forward to December 10th and seeing you again.
Oh, it's
And
gonna be great,
Definitely.
man. It's gonna be great.
the big question is,
Yes.
I've already asked you the 3 paranormal items thing, so we're not going to ask you that again. You'll have to watch or listen to the very first Dustin Pari episode. The big question of the night is, did you replace the Hello Kitty suitcase with a new one?
so yeah, my Hello Kitty suitcase had become probably more popular than me on my social media pages. It's pretty much I think it's Raisin, my hairless cat, Mr. Herman, my little doll, and then the Hello Kitty suitcase were the 3 most popular things in my social media feed. And the Hello Kitty suitcase was my daughter's, and she was throwing it out. And I was like, "This is the best suitcase in the house." So I used it for years. But recently, the handle like froze in place; it wouldn't extend anymore. Um, so I retired it to the basement, but I kept it because it's been with me everywhere. And so now it houses like all the lanyards and the passes from all the different events, all the hotel card keys from like the different countries and stuff I've been to. So I've kept it as a relic, but it's a nice little storage place for all my things related to my travels. So she's still here with us. Hello Kitty. And it worked out because I randomly was asked to do a social media ad for Samsonite luggage right when it broke. So I was like, "Oh yeah, we can do this." So we did that, and they sent me a bunch of free luggage. So now
There
I've
you
got
go. Perfect.
yeah, I've got this superhero blue one and this bright red one. They're like, "These are the colors you want?" I'm like, "Yes, I want things that I can see easily that I don't have to worry about." So that's what we got. But yeah, Hello Kitty's well and safe, and she's just in my basement.
Years and years down the road after you've left us, Dustin, that Hello Kitty is going to come up on the auction block, and somebody's going to pay a hell of a lot of money for that, brother.
I'm not
No,
sure
it's
about
going to be
that.
in the Haunted Couples Museum. They're going to add that to their
Yeah,
collection.
there you go.
Cody will
That's
be
right.
great.
Yeah.
Yep. I'll have to tell my daughter. I'm like, when I pass away, give this to Cody.
Yes.
Right.
And then they'll travel around the country saying Dustin's still with us.
Yeah, people can sit around and talk to it.
There you go.
That's it. Indeed.
All right, brother. We appreciate it, man. We look forward to it. Hell, it's already less than a month away.
Yeah.
And we got to get going. We got to get this place looking like the North Pole, Sean.
That's it. I
That's
want it to
right.
look like an elf threw up all over the place. Super festive, tinsel on everything. Everything lights up. It'll be great.
I think you'll be pleased with the way it's going to turn out.
All right. Very well. Very well. Well, I really look forward to it, guys. Thanks so much for your time tonight. And I really I appreciate you guys very much. I'm looking forward to being back at the Bell. We're going to have a wonderful time. It'll be festive and fun. And it'll be a nice way to get our Christmas season underway.
Well, safe travels, brother, and happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you, gents. You have a great night.
All
You
right.
too. Thank you.
All right. See you later.
And thank you, everybody, for joining us on yet another amazing episode, number 40. We are officially over the hill, and we'll see you next time for episode 41.